Yo, willkommen zu Livestream, Leute. Und heute ich werde mit dem Police Simulator Patrol Officers spielen. Ja, ich habe noch nie mit diesem Spiel gespielt. Und ja, ich hoffe, dass ihr Stream, dass ihr werdet dieses Stream durchschauen. Police Simulator Patrol Officers, welcome back to my channel. This is David Production. So, man, finally that I finished the stream about GTA 5 Online. And you know, it's good to switch to a different game. Like, yeah, I don't want to play anymore with GTA, so I decided to play with something new, something that I never played before, and it will be the Police Simulator Patrol Officer. So today we're gonna be playing with this game. If you're new to the channel, then leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Alright, now that you did that, it says that press any button to continue, so yeah, I can just press X or yeah, any other button I wish to. But yeah, I will just press X. Loading, please wait. General data privacy. For information on how your data may be shared, please see our privacy policy. Confirm. Okay, select back. Signed in. Not saved yet. Career, new settings, controls, game, audio, video, credits, news, DLC, news. Okay, patch 14.1. Yeah, we have everything here, but yeah, I don't read all of this. Controls, wireless controller bindings. Modify your wireless controller bindings. Inverted look, reverses look up / down axis of the wireless controller. Wireless controller vibration on. Sensitivity camera 2.5, aiming 1.0, steering 1.0, wireless controller dead zone 0.15. Okay, game. Multiplayer data privacy off. Show multiplayer data privacy camera. Force jump cuts interaction camera. An interaction camera is used when interacting with NPCs and objects. By default, the game smoothly blends from the normal third-person camera to the interaction camera. When enabled, this option replaces this transition with a single jump cut, which may help players who experience motion sickness or dizziness caused by certain camera movements. Enable camera shake. Enable camera shake effects when hitting an obstacle with the player card. Disabling this setting may help players who experience motion sickness or dizziness caused by certain camera movements. User interface UI scale 1.00 increase / decrease the size of the user interface. Subtitle background. Whether to draw the background behind subtitles off. Don't draw any background. Transparent. Draw a semi-transparent dark background box. Solid. Draw a dark solid background box. Colored subtitles. Use different subtitle colors depending on the person speak. Rotate minimap on. Rotate the minimap with the camera direction. Radial menu tooltips. Display tooltip for the currently selected action in the radial menu. DLC. Confirm. Okay. Audio mastered. Volume, sound effects, music, ambience, dialogue, emergency siren. Settings, language, English, Deutsch. Okay, so we have Deutsch, franchise. I think this is Japanese language, Chinese, Espanol, Korean language. I don't know, I'm just guessing. I'm not too sure if this is a Korean language or not. Italiano, Polski, Portuguese do Brazil, Turk. Oh, okay, Turkish, yeah, Turk, English, Deutsch. English, yeah, I'm gonna leave it. It's English. Again, mod 2.2, colorblind mod, normal vision, HDR brightness 1000 nits. Defines the applied tone mapping curve of the HDR tone mapper based on the desired output brightness. HDR UI brightness, field of view on field of view aiming, field of view vehicle first person perspective, field of view vehicle third person. What? So there's actually first person mod perspective in this game, so you can switch to the first person mod. That's awesome. And you can also switch to the third person if you wish. Let's do so. Credits. Yeah. Okay, news, DLC. Okay, I think we can start. So career. I'm gonna select new character selection. Gender male, female. Okay, I'm gonna be male. Character Arun Saeli, new career. Apply now. Address 3 Davis Street, Brighton. Birth date, location June 27th, 1988. Miles Spring. Family status married. Game options: inverted look off. Game mod casual simulation, the full experience designed for players who want an immersive experience. Casual, adjusted balancing and more hints on what's happening around the player makes the game less punishing. Tutorials on. So we can disable the tutorial, but I'm not gonna do that. Game options can be changed later at any time because I never played with this game before, like I said earlier. And that's why I'm gonna leave the tutorial on. Gender male, character Arun Saeli. We can change the character. Noah J. Johns. Address 269 Trafalgar State, Brighton. Birthday location January 1st, 1982, Brighton. Family status single. Danny Lopez. Address Yeli Alley, Brighton. Birth date, location October 3rd, 1990. New Niat. Family status married. Frank Miller. Address 79 Appleton Ave, Brighton. Birth date, location May 18th, 1983. Brighton. Family status married. Okay, so we have like 4 characters that we can choose. Yeah, I will go for the. I don't know. I don't really wanna like pick this Chinese guy. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't have nothing against Chinese or Japanese guys, but you know, I like to choose a different character. Frank Miller. Yeah, I think I will choose Frank Miller. Status married, so he is married. Okay. Game options. Inverted look off. Reverses look. Game mod casual. Tutorials on casual. Game mod. If you're playing this game for the first time, it is highly recommended that you start a new career in casual mod. This provides useful hints and assistance that guide your gameplay experience to help you grasp the mechanics. Remember, you can change the game mode at any time and even customize assistance as you see fit. We suggest changing the game mode to simulation for a more hardcore experience once you're familiar with the concepts. Do you want to proceed in simulation game mode? Accept, cancel. No, I don't want to proceed in simulation game mode. If, if this is my first time playing with this game, so I'm gonna leave it on casual. And now we can start. Yo, this is going to be interesting. Highway Patrol expansion out now. Welcome. Shift selection. Here is the district overview where you can pick your next shift. You have to play 5 shifts each week. You can take 4 days off a week and receive new shift options by pressing L1. Handbook. Confirm. Okay, handbook. Shifts. Okay. So, shifts brief. Before starting your patrol, you have to use the shift selection. You have to use the shift selection map to choose which shift you want to play. When starting a new career, you can only choose the first available neighborhood. Later on, you can choose between 3 available neighborhoods in your currently assigned district. At the end of every shift, patrol officers have to report back at their desk in the precinct to end their shift. If a patrol officer loses all their conduct points during a shift, the shift is lost and ends immediately. The work week. Unlike many office jobs, but like other public service jobs, a patrol officer's work week is generally scheduled between Monday and Sunday with no fixed weekend. In Police Simulator, patrol officers on Monday each week, players choose the city district they want to serve that work week. The district selection cannot be changed during the ongoing work week. During each work week, you can take several days off. The days you take off are your choice and can be used to skip shifts you don't want to play. Shift properties. Each shift has the following characteristics. Foot patrol or car patrol. Car patrols can only be chosen when a patrol car is unlocked. High crime or low crime. Some neighborhoods might currently be known for their high crime rates. Time of day. Days are generally busier, but some crimes or violations can happen more often at night. Weekday differences. The day of the week can impact crime rates or no parking zones in specific neighborhoods. For example, more incidents of driving under the influence of alcohol, drugs can be expected on weekends. Shift duration. By default, each shift lasts 20 minutes. This duration can be adjusted in open patrol mode. A shift can last up to 8 hours. At the end of every shift, patrol officers have to report back at their desk in the precinct to end their shift. Shortly after the shift ends, it is no longer possible to collect shift points. However, active duties can still be finished and will be rewarded. Be aware that losing conduct points is still possible after the shift has ended. Okay, this is really good to know, especially for the new players like me, because I don't know I don't know nothing about this game, and I will just read like all of this right now, so it is gonna take me some time. So please be patient, guys, okay? Reasonable suspicion. Select related topics back. Okay. Brief. The term reasonable suspicion means that a situation allows a patrol officer to believe that a person may have committed a crime. Reasonable suspicion authorizes the officer to detain persons in a 30-stop, frisk them, and follow up on the suspicion. Drug and alcohol tests are justified, and persons are obligated to identify themselves when the officer asks them to. Find more information about which actions are allowed in a situation in the Evidence Handbook entry. Probable cause. Brief. The term probable oh my god. The term probable cause is similar. It's a reasonable suspicion, but requires more evidence or clues to be established and allows for the wider range of officer actions. Probably probable cause is established when a patrol officer can convincingly argue that a person is very likely to have committed a crime. Probable cause authorizes the officer to search a person or their car and make an arrest. Yo, so this is just like as in real life, you know that when you know like you know like like they can like search up your car and stuff like that. And man, 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 I wondered if this game is good or not, so I can't wait to give it a try. Find more information about which actions are allowed in a situation in the Evidence Handbook entry. Intuition System. The intuition system displays multiple types of information in certain situations and is displayed as a text overlay beneath the compass. The intuition information can have different colors. This shows additional intel when interacting with people. For example, when talking to a person, the intuition feedback may show I smell alcohol. Hint: at night, some of this intuition feedback is triggered only when the flashlight is turned on. Red: this shows information about the conduct and behavior of the police officer. For example, when driving too fast, the intuition feedback shows I am driving too fast. Many red intuition feedback hints are not triggered when the casual option for that feature is enabled in the game settings. Green: this shows additional information when playing casual mod enabled. For example, if you turn on casual mod for littering in the game settings, the intuition feedback shows this person littered. Yellow: this shows any other intuition feedback. Okay, focus mod. Focus mod allows patrol officers to obtain more information from a variety of situations. It's activated by pressing L1. Focus on license plates. This not only zooms in on the license plate, it also creates an entry in the background check application on the police computer. Also focusing on vehicle license plates involved in an accident provides bonus points. Focus on wanted suspects. Looking like a wanted person is enough evidence to detain them. Focusing on this person provides patrol officers with a hint about whether the person is the wanted suspect. Do so to avoid lengthy ID checks for a lot of pedestrians. Focus on drug dealers. This provides information about whether the observed interaction really was a drug deal. How's the handbook? Welcome to the Brighton Police Force officer. Please study this handbook carefully at the start of your new career and occasionally refresh your memory later in your career. Remember the law of enforcement code of ethics in all situations. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve the community, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or in or in intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all to liberty, equality, and justice. In this handbook, you will find many helpful tips and hints about a patrol officer's daily duties and what is expected of them. Each handbook entry has links to other related entries. Study it carefully to become an upstanding, honest, and decisive patrol officer. Must read. The following topics will help provide you with a good understanding of your duties as you start playing as a patrol officer. Focus mod, reasonable suspicion, probable cause, detaining, asking for ID, handcuffing, casual, and simulation game mod. Hints. This handbook sometimes mentions controls binding. Please note that those controls bindings refer to the standard layout. Customized controls binding will not be displayed. Disclaimer. The information contained in this video game handbook is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal advice on any subject matter. You should not act or refrain from acting on the basis of any content included in this video game without seeking legal or other professional advice. Reasoning suspicion, so I already read like how it's handbook, focus mod, intuition system, probable cause, reasonable suspicion, shifts. Yeah, shift points slash district XP. Patrol officers earn shift points during a shift by performing justified actions and by doing a good job. District experience points are earned by successfully ending a shift. The amount of earned district XP depends on the amount of shift points players earned by doing their duty. For example, correctly issuing tickets, resolving motor vehicle accidents, and all other duties. The amount of conduct points the player has left, the more conduct points a player loses during a shift, the less district XP they earn. Players receive a bonus on district XP when playing in a single-player mod. Players receive bonus on district XP when clearing a neighborhood of high crime. Once enough district XP is collected, players receive a duty star. Players are able to earn a set maximum amount of district XP in each city district. Conduct points. Patrol officers are bound to a code of conduct and laws. If they break these, they will suffer consequences. Each patrol officer's shift starts with 100 conduct points. Whenever the officer breaks a law, conduct points are deducted. When 0 conduct points are reached, the officer is fired. The game is reset to before the shift, and the player will have to repeat the shift. All shift points collected during the shift in question are lost and no progress is made. Some unlawful actions are more severe than others. For example, speeding deducts just a few conduct points. However, the unjustified discharge of a weapon at a person deducts all 100 conduct points, and the officer will be fired immediately. At the end of a shift, police officers with fewer than 100 conduct points are punished with a reduction in shift points, which measure a career's progress. For example, if a player has 80 out of 100 conduct points at the end of a shift, only 90% of the collected shift points are converted into experience points. The following actions will be punished: traffic violations when driving, speeding, ignoring stop signs or red lights, using the emergency lights or siren without reason. Traffic violations on foot, jaywalking ignoring a red light, unjustified encounters and instructions, aiming or shooting a weapon, arresting, searching, frisking, detaining, pulling over, demanding ID, ordering truck alcohol tests. Reasons for losing a shift: police brutality, uh, police brutality, police brutality, police brutality, unjustified weapon discharge at citizens or cars, running over pedestrians, serious injury of the officer, causing a major accident, breaking the patrol car. Hence, the game options allow many, many, but not all, of the reasons for losing conduct points to be deactivated for a more casual and relaxed game. However, police brutality is always punished. Duty stars are earned by achieving a certain amount of district XP. They are needed to unlock new tools, features, police cars, neighborhoods, and city districts. You can see how many duty stars you have in the shift selection map, as well as what unlocks for different amounts of duty stars. Losing a shift. Okay, so losing a shift. Okay, let's read this. In certain situations, the officer's shift ends immediately and without returning to the precinct. In such cases, the shift counts as a lost game and will have to be repeated. A shift can be lost by being fired. The officer loses all conduct points by disobeying the code of conduct and or laws. Being arrested, committing a serious crime results in the arrest of the patrol officer. For example, by unlawfully shooting at citizens or cars or running over pedestrians, being seriously injured when the patrol officer is injured, for example, by being run over by a motor vehicle, causing a major accident such as the patrol officer crashing into other motor vehicles and causing a major accident, breaking the patrol car. The officer damages the patrol car to the extent it is broken, for example, by driving into houses, lampposts, or other objects. And the consequences of losing a shift are: the officer doesn't receive any district XP and or duty stars. All progress from the lost shift is lost. The game time is set back to before the shift, and the shift will have to be repeated. Hence, when a suspect flees and a patrol officer aims their ranged stun gun at them, the suspect might surrender and raise their arms. If so, it is no longer permitted to shoot. Callouts / call for service. It is common during a shift for patrol officers to receive dispatched calls for service (CFS). Patrol officers can accept or decline these callouts, whereby declining doesn't have any negative consequences. Only only one callout can be active at a time, and when a new CFS is accepted, the currently active callout is cancelled. When accepting a callout, officers are expected to arrive at the callout destination in a certain amount of time. When police officers receive a call for service from a dispatcher, a call priority level is assigned to it. Regular callouts: minor accident, wanted suspect, roadblock. Emergency callouts: major car accident, aggravated assault, robbery. Hence, patrol officers don't receive any more callouts once their shift is over. Casual/simulation game mods. When starting a new career and at any time during a shift of a career already in progress, you are able to customize your game experience. Police Simulator Patrol Officers allows you to toggle many features between a simulation and a casual experience, while the simulation option targets a more realistic game feel. The casual option is more relaxed and offers more help. The simulation option is often more punishing, while casual mode is more forgiving. The game options allow you to toggle features in the following categories. General, when casual mode is on, the player character, player card, and pedestrians cannot take damage. Traffic violation detection. If casual mode is on, you will receive hints on traffic violations actively in progress by drivers driving over a red light. However, ongoing violations are not shown. Driving with a broken windshield. Other violation detection. If casual mode is on, you will receive hints on other violations such as pedestrians jaywalking, littering, having an expired ID, or carrying illegal items. Player violations. If casual mode is on, players won't be punished for violations like speeding or ignoring red lights. Please be aware that police brutality will be punished even with casual mode on. Okay. Open patrol. Play this mod to plunge into an 8-hour real-time shift, either alone or with a partner. Officers are not restricted to district or neighborhood and can freely patrol in their car in every available district. During the patrol, officers will only encounter violations and situations they have seen before and know how to handle. Ending the shift is possible at any time at any precinct. Toggle mods. Once available, it is possible to toggle between open patrol and career shifts during shift selection by pressing the relevant button. Once a shift has been started, it must be finished before toggling mods becomes possible again. Shift properties. Police cars are always available on this shift. In addition, the time of day can be chosen freely. During open patrol, there are no shift targets, but police officers should be on the lookout for crimes and felonies. Badge level. Brighton Police Department rewards all officers who volunteer for open patrol, volunteered for open patrol. The more time invested, the more their badge level rises. Officers can compare with each other who has gained more experience and who has higher badge level. However, any experience gained is not converted into district points. Hint. Officers should pay even closer attention to their conduct points during this long shift. If they lose them all, they will lose the whole shift. Ending a shift early is possible. Why drive a damaged car? Every precinct has multiple cars available for exchanging. In multiplayer mod, both officers must have the mod unlocked or be friends. Okay. Mm, yeah, I think that's all. Hopefully, general. Oh, oh, I was wrong. No, it's not. We have still 3 more to go. So, still 3 more to read. Actions. Detaining. Detaining a person means preventing them from leaving an investigative detention, investigatory stop, or 30 stop, legal case 30, Ohio 392 US 1 1968 is one of 3 possible police-citizen encounters. Consensual encounter investigative detention arrest. An officer may detain somebody only with reasonable suspicion or probable cause that a person has committed a crime or violation. If a person does not have reason to believe that a police officer has detained them, for example, by telling them that they are detained and by naming the grounds for their detention, this person is free to leave at any time. Detaining pedestrians. Pedestrians can be detained for littering, jaywalking when they match the description of a wanted person, or they probably passes trucks. Apart from such 30 stops, there are many arrest encounters that don't require detainment, but which result in an immediate arrest by handcuffing. See respective article. Okay, yeah, I will be right back to you guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. So, yeah. So we are gonna read right now the detaining. Detaining pedestrians. Yeah. Okay. Detaining drivers. Grounds for de detaining drivers are divided in multiple categories in the interaction wheel. Each of these categories may include multiple grounds for de detainment. Check them all out in the interaction wheel. Detainment resulting from document or background check. Detainment because of vehicle. Detainment because of driving. Detainment because of traffic stop. Releasing detained citizens. An officer is only allowed to investigate the reason for detainment when no further grounds for detainment are found during the investigation. The officer must let the citizen go. The option to let somebody go can be found in the interaction wheel. Citizens are also no longer detained when the officers remove themselves from the detained person. Person. Hence, the following hints might come in handy during your next investigative detention encounter. When detaining a person, the police officer might notice suspicious behavior, for example, nervousness or traces of illegal substances. This is displayed as intuition feedback and can allow for further interrogation. Make sure to turn on the flashlight at night to see such signs, while detained citizens are not allowed to refuse identifying themselves when asked for their ID. Brighton police officers can issue tickets without detaining a person first and without negative consequences. However, detaining first earns them extra shift points. Game trivia: in Police Simulator, patrol officers, witnesses to accidents and crimes are automatically detained without any proactive detaining action by the officer, even if it may not be legally correct. This allows for a much simpler way of handling witnesses for the player. Right, pullover. Uh, Pullover cars. Pulling over the car is considered the detention of the vehicle occupants and is justified only after establishing reasonable suspicion. For example, if they have committed a traffic violation or they are driving suspiciously. Justified grounds for detainment and therefore pulling a vehicle over are divided into various categories in the interaction wheel. Each of these categories can include multiple grounds for detainment. Check them all out in the interaction wheel. Detainment resulting from document or background check. Detainment because of vehicle. Detainment because of driving. Detainment because of traffic stop. How to pull over the car. When tailing a car, you can pull it over by pressing the pull over button. This will result in a short sequence of sirens and emergency lights that signal the vehicle ahead to pull over. You will also receive an intuition text telling you if a car is pulling over. An officer can also pull over cars when on foot by using the pullover sign. This is described in a different handbook entry. Drivers who are pulled over are released from detainment when police officers remove themselves from the pulled over car. So make sure to stay close. It's difficult to pull over in a street where there are no free parking spots. So if you want to pull over cars quickly, make sure you pull them over in areas with free parking spots. Asking for ID. The Fourth Amendment to the Constitution regulates the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. This includes regulating when persons have to identify themselves to police officers. In addition to this, a lot of states have stop and identify laws. In the state of Franklin and the city of Brighton, police officers are allowed to request a person's ID when the officer has reasonable suspicion or probable cause that a person has committed a crime or violation. The person is a witness, such as a witness to an accident or crime. Identifying a witness is relatively simple. They are found around the scene of the accident or crime, and patrol officers have the option interview witness in the interaction menu. Hint: the drivers involved in an accident are also witnesses. However, knowing when there is reasonable suspicion or probable cause is a little more tricky, and patrol officers need to be aware of different situations. For example, an officer in Brighton is allowed to ask for identification if the person looks like a wanted suspect, probably committed a crime such as assault, robbery, or car theft, violated any traffic rules by car or on foot, for example, ignoring a red light or having an invalid insurance, violated any laws, for example, littering, drove suspiciously, for example, viewing, viewing, viewing behaves suspiciously, for example, avoids eye contact or is nervous or trembling, appears to have taken illegal substances, for example, having dilated pupils, red eyes, or when green crumbs are found, carries an illegal item, flees while being detained. On the other hand, there is also behavior that does not justify asking for an ID, such as when a person sweats, has a runny nose, walks around drunk. The following hints may be useful for officers to know. Not every ID is a valid driver's license. Driver licenses carry a statement identifying them as such. Other IDs do not. Always compare the person's appearance to the photo on the ID. If they don't match, the ID is probably stolen. However, accessories are not worn in ID photos. Frisking and searching. According to the Fourth Amendment, US citizens are fundamentally protected from police searches. However, this right is restricted in certain circumstances. Frisking. Frisking a person means that an officer cautiously pats down the suspect's visible garments with their hands to determine if the person is carrying a concealed weapon. Concealed weapon. Uh, Police officers are authorized to frisk a person if they have reasonable suspicion that the detained person is armed, or a threat to the officer's health. Frisking a citizen is justified when they probably committed a crime such as assault, robbery, or stealing a car. displays suspicious or aggressive behavior, for example, acting angry, nervous, fearful, or trembling, show signs of driving under the influence of alcohol, DUI, or illegal substances, for example, having dilated pupils, red eyes, or the presence of green crumbs, flee while detained. Frisking or searching Frisking or searching a person is not permitted for the following traffic violations such as speeding or having tinted windows, driving suspiciously, for example, viewing, not having valid insurance or having an expired ID, resembling a wanted person, witnessing a crime or car accident or being a driver involved in an accident, having a runny nose, or sweating. Searching. Searching a person is more rough and invasive than frisk. The officer not only touches the suspect's visible clothing, they also inspect the contents of the person's pockets, bag, or car. Because of their because of their invasive nature, the regulations governing searches are much stricter. Searching citizens or their cars is justified only when they have probably committed a crime like assault, robbery, or car theft, or justifiably are justifiably arrested, show signs of driving under the influence, DUI of alcohol or illegal substances, for example, having delayed pupils, red eyes, or when green crumbs are found, flee while being detained, or carrying an illegal item, for example, when the officer finds an illegally carried handgun while frisking a person. Searching a person or their car is forbidden under the following circumstances: whenever frisking is unjustified, searches are likewise not permitted. See above for unjustified grounds for frisking. When a person shows suspicious or aggressive behavior, for example, being angry, nervous, fearful, or trembling, this justifies frisking but not searching for a person or their car. In searching vehicles, the justified search of a vehicle allows officers to search each compartment individually, including all four doors and the car's trunk. Issuing ticket verbal warning. There are two categories for which officers may issue a verbal warning or ticket: traffic violations by drivers involved in car accidents or by drivers who have been pulled over, civil infractions by pedestrians. Police officers can issue a ticket, citation, or leave it at a verbal warning. The decision is at the officer's own discretion. Traffic violations. Tickets or verbal warnings for traffic violations can be issued to drivers who have been pulled over by an officer, as well as to drivers involved in an accident. There are three subcategories: ticketing, the driver, the car, or the driving itself. All traffic violations are listed in the respective handbook entry. Civil infractions. The following civil infractions allow for the issuing of a ticket or a verbal warning: jaywalking, ignoring a red light or not using a crosswalk, littering, discarding trash, expired ID. Brighton police officers can issue tickets without detaining a person first and without negative consequences. However, detaining first earns them extra shift points. Often, officers find multiple violations In such cases, the officer may issue multiple tickets at the same time. There are a lot of parking regulations that, when ignored, permit issuing tickets to cars. Please refer to the handbook entry for a detailed description of available parking tickets. Handcuffing. Arresting a person. Arresting a person involves handcuffing them and calling for the backup arrest transport. And an arrest encounter is one of three possible police-citizen encounters: cons, con, con, consensual encounter, investigative detention, arrest. An officer may arrest somebody only after lawfully establishing prob prob probable cause that the person has committed a crime, mis mis the misdemeanor or felony. Unlike in some other states, the laws of the state Franklin do not have different arrest protocols for misdemeanors, minor crimes, or felonies, major crimes. This means that officers are authorized to arrest suspects with probable cause in all cases, even if they did not personally witness the crime. In an arrest encounter, suspects are not allowed to leave, and the officer is advised to search their person and car. However, arrested citizens are allowed to and will leave a street and walk onto sidewalk. Initiating an arrest by handcuffing is justified when the suspect is carrying illegal items, for example, a switchblade, illegally carried firearm, or drugs, is driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, has a fake ID, is driving without a valid driver's license, is driving a stolen car, is a wanted suspect, flees from the officer when frisked, searched, or detained. Transporting. After an officer justifiably arrests a criminal, it's important that the arrestee is unable to continue making the streets unsafe, and that they are transported to the nearest precinct. The easiest way to do so is to call for an arrest transport. Only experienced officers are allowed to handle and escort arrestees to the precinct themselves. An officer may only escort an arrestee when the arrest is made close to precinct or patrol car. In all other cases, the officer should request for an arrest transport. The following hints might come in handy during your next arrest encounter. Officers don't need to detain a person before arresting them if one of the above reasons for the arrest is given. Officers who find multiple reasons for arrest or additional violations can choose them all at the same time. Searching a rightfully arrested person and their car is always justified. Arrested citizens can still be issued tickets and they remain open to criminal liability. Officers are advised to handcuff a fleeing suspect immediately and then add additional charges. Officers can transport a maximum of 2 arrestees in their patrol car at a time. Drug tests slash DUI. Well, this sounds interesting. When pulling over cars for committing a traffic violation, and only when the pullover is justified, are officers allowed to request the driver to take a drug test. The purpose of this drug test is to find out whether the driver is DUI, driving under the influence, thus establishing probable cause. DUI is, at minimum, a misdemeanor. Arresting the driver and towing the driver's car is justified in this situation. Officers can perform an alcohol and a drug test. The legal alcohol limit is a blood alcohol content (BAC) of 0.08%, 0.8 per ml. A lower BAC is not punishable. Ordering a drug/alcohol test is allowed when drivers behave suspiciously. For example, the officer sees them weaving while driving, or they are nervous, have red eyes, or exhibit noticeable drug odors. Commit a traffic violation, for example, running a red light, speeding, or having a broken windshield. All traffic violations justify a drug test in Brighton are part of an official traffic stop. All stopped drivers can be ordered to perform a drug test are involved in an accident. Ordering a drug test is not allowed when drivers are pulled over without justification. This means that an officer is not allowed to pull over random citizens without reasonable suspicion and order them to perform a drug test. In Brighton, drivers are not allowed to refuse a drug test when pulled over at an official traffic stop, even if they don't show any signs of DUI. It's permitted to order the driver to perform a drug test when the driver has committed any traffic violation, even if the violation is not connected to suspicion of a DUI. Commercial drivers operating in Brighton are not allowed to drive with an blood alcohol content above 0.0%. This does not apply to cab drivers. Trivia: the laws of the state of Franklin and city of Brighton don't distinguish between DUI misdemeanors and DUI felonies. Driving with impaired ability is also not a recognized category. Unlike other police departments, Brighton's police use breathalyzers instead of field sobriety tests. In contrast to many other cities, the legal alcohol level for taxi drivers and other commercial drivers is the same as for regular drivers. Currently, there exist no justified grounds for ordering pedestrians to perform a drug test. Interview witnesses. Brief. Witnesses can be encountered at car accidents and crime scenes. Comments all witnesses is that they can be interrogated. Witnesses in Brighton are legally obligated to identify themselves when asked for their ID by an officer. Car accident witnesses. Pedestrians. Pedestrians near a car accident who saw the car accident happening are witnesses. They stand on the sidewalk waiting for the patrol officer to interrogate them to discover clues and find out how the accident happened. Police officers are advised to let them go after interrogation. Once the accident investigation is resolved, they will leave, even if the officer doesn't let them go. As in accordance with the Fourth Amendment, they are not officially detained and are free to leave. Car accident witnesses. Drivers. The drivers involved in a car accident are also witnesses. In contrast to pedestrian witnesses, patrol officers are allowed to frisk driver witnesses and order them to perform a drug test. When an officer lets a driver witness go, they will either return inside their car and drive away, or if their car is too damaged, walk away. Make sure you've finished your accident investigation before letting driver witnesses go. The intuition system will notify you as a pop-up hint when you've questioned all the involved witnesses. Car accident report. While investigating a car accident, the patrol officer writes a report with all the collected evidence and witness statements. Officers are advised to provide the involved drivers with a copy of the report once the investigation is completed. In the call-out UI, a progress bar shows the current status of the accident investigation. The more accurate the report is, the greater the number of shift points that will be earned for giving out the reports. There are multiple states of report completeness: poor, sufficient, extensive, and complete. Report progression is influenced by the following actions: interviewing pedestrian witnesses, interviewing driver witnesses, asking witnesses for ID, focusing on license plates with L1 intact, license plates only, fallen off license plates do not count, photographing evidence, performing drug/alcohol tests. A positive result is valued higher than a negative result. If officers need to arrest a driver witness, they are advised to give them the report before calling for arrest transport. Otherwise, the report can no longer be given to the citizen. The report UI notifies you when every driver witness has received a report. Crime witnesses. Witnesses to crime are often encountered at a crime scene. Patrol officers are advised to interrogate them to find out who might have committed the crime. The more the roughly witnesses are interrogated, the greater the number of hints that can be collected about the perpetrator. Collecting enough hints results in a wanted suspect call-out. Sometimes there may not be sufficient hints to start a search. In such cases, the crime scene investigation is finished for the patrol officer. Officers can let witnesses go. They will then remain at the crime scene and not walk away. Trivia: in Police Simulator, patrol officers, witnesses to accidents and crimes are automatically detained without any proactive detaining action by the officer, even if it may not be legally correct. This allows for a much simpler way of handling witnesses for the player. Yeah, calling ambulance. Okay. Law enforcement at its core is a service career tasked with maintaining citizen safety and welfare. It's an officer's duty to help hurt and injured persons to this end. Calling an ambulance for anyone injured is also the duty of all first responders. Often injured persons cannot decide for themselves whether or not they need an ambulance or treatment. For example, when they are unconscious. In such cases, first responders and paramedics operate on the principle of implied consent. The circumstance implies that a first responder can assume that a person would consent to calling an ambulance and being treated by paramedics. Tow truck slash record. In some situations, a tow truck is needed to move a motor vehicle. The towing option can be found in the menu when interacting with the vehicle in question. The authorization to tow a car is given when the car violates parking regulations that justify towing. The car is involved in an accident and is emitting smoke. It is not in an operational state or a roadworthy condition. The car has been pulled over and the driver is no longer able to drive because, for example, they have been arrested. Brighton's tow truck service is usually reliable and quick. However, there are situations in which it might take a while, such as when no tow truck is currently available or when the record is unable to easily reach its destination. In such cases, the tow truck service will notify the patrol officers that it might take up to 24 hours and that patrol officers are allowed and advised Salif, we are in ongoing communication with the tow truck service and are working to improve the service further in the future. Evidence. The law regulates which actions a patrol officer is authorized to take when a citizen breaks the law, depending on the depending on the severity of the crime. Greater or less invasive steps are justified, while following these rules is rewarded. Overstepping them costs conduct points and can lead to dismissal. This is a full list of violations and allowed actions. Allowed: chatting, runny nose, suspicious behavior, sweating. Allowed: asking for ID, alcohol test, drug test. Witnesses of motor vehicle accidents or crime scenes. Expired: license plate looking like a wanted suspect. Parked car. Expired parking meter. Parked car facing wrong direction. Parked car on sidewalk. Parked car too far in street, involved in accident. Allowed: detaining, pulling over. Broken brake light. Crime suspect assault. Crime suspect robbery. Damaged windshield. Expired ID. Ignored red light. Ignored stop sign. Jaywalking. Littering. No valid insurance. Parked car during street cleaning hours. Parked car next to hydrant. Parked car too close to crosswalk. Parked car in firefighter zone. Parked car in handicap zone without permit. A parked car in no parking zone. Parked car in taxi zone without permit. Speeding. Spraying graffiti. Suspicious driving. Tinted windows. Turn signal not used. Involved in accident. Loud frisking. Angry. Avoiding eye contact. Fearful, looking around, nervous, trembling. Loud searching. Dilated pupils, fake insurance, green crumbs, red eyes, slurred speech, smells of alcohol, smells of cannabis, white powder around nose. Allowed: handcuffing, arresting, buying drugs, carrying illegal items, dealing drugs, driving under the influence of alcohol, driving under the influence of drugs, fake ID, no valid driver's license, possessing drugs, stolen car, open warrant. Allowed: use of non-lethal force, ranged stun gun. Criminal who flees from patrol officer. Allowed: aiming with gun, but not shooting. Crime scene suspect investigated by patrol officer who is now in fight who is now in fight flight from patrol officer. For flight. At night, it is possible to observe some evidence only when the flashlight is turned on. Writing reports. At the end of a shift, each officer has to write their reports at their desk in their precinct's office. This opens up the report screen and lists of all of the patrol officers' actions during the shift. Collected shift points, lost conduct points, and rewarded bonus district XP are summarized in that screen. Also displayed are the progression to the next duty start and any unlocked tools, features, neighborhoods, patrol cars, and districts. Greeting citizens. Police officers should always act as a role model for their community. This includes interacting with local residents in a friendly manner. A police officer should always be friendly and respectful. Many people appreciate exemplary police officers and see them as an important part of the community and even as everyday heroes. Children usually want to become astronauts or doctors, but a lot of them also want to become police officers due to their good standing. Some adults even show their appreciation by giving gifts to police officers. Small gestures are just as important as big ones, including greeting citizens back. Some citizens greet the city's friends and helpers and are pleased when you, as a police officer, accept such gestures and return their greetings. When a police officer is greeted by a citizen, they have a few seconds to greet the citizen back. Officers who are in a rush tend not to do so. Asking for directions. Brighton is quite a lively city with many people coming from elsewhere on business or for shopping or simply to relax. The city is known for its economic growth and it has a large number of franchised outlets. This means many of the stores have the same name but are located in different areas. Some places are quite accessible and easy to find, such as the precinct's stadium and even the hospital, while other locations are more difficult to find in Brighton City, such as some restaurants and small stores. Receiving a request for assistance with directions. As a Brighton PD law enforcement police officer, you will be required to help citizens find their way around, although offering people directions may not seem as important as fighting crime. It is it is still a crucial part of the daily duties of a Brighton patrol officer. How to help citizens. Patrol officers in Brighton will have to point out the exact location of where the citizen wants to go pressing the give pressing the give directions option on the radial tool wheel. The world map screen then opens, allowing you to select the location of the requested point of interest. When patrol officers find more than one spot indicating the same requested point of interest on the map, they must indicate to the citizen the closest one to their current location. As a new police officer, it is recommended that you familiarize yourself with every corner of the city during your shift. This will also help you assist citizens more efficiently. Each new discovered point of interest is automatically saved on your map. Citizens may ask about points of interest that you have not yet unlocked on your map. If you are unsure, make sure you do not give them incorrect directions. It is possible for you mark what you believe to be the nearest point of interest on the map, but that there is actually closer, still undiscovered location. This would explain a citizen's dissatisfaction when you mark what you believe to be the honest closest point of interest on the map. Roadblocks/traffic stops. For Brighton's police department, roadblocks, also called checkpoints, are a common setup for controlling traffic participants' compliance to the rules, while some argue that the lack of reasonable suspicion or probable cause means that such roadblocks violate the Fourth Amendment. It is common practice in Brighton and was not deemed in violation of the state constitution by the state of Franklin. Patrol officers in Brighton might receive a call to assist at a specific roadblock in the assigned area. During a roadblock, every passing motor vehicle can be pulled over, even if reasonable suspicion is not established. Drivers are obligated to do a drug/alcohol test when asked by the officer. Be aware that the justified search of a person or vehicle still needs established probable cause. To pull over motor vehicles at a traffic stop, officers must be at the exit of the traffic stop congestion funnel. They must then aim at the vehicle and signal it with the pullover sign. The The car will then park inside the reserved parking area behind the traffic stop, giving traffic orders to pedestrians. Patrol officers are allowed to give traffic orders to pedestrians during an emergency when justifiably detaining a suspect, as well when dealing with a shift call-out that endangers the safety of citizens. Order pedestrians to move to the sidewalk and wait. Officers may only order pedestrians to step on to the sidewalk and wait when they are being justifiably detained. Order pedestrians to evacuate the area. When on a call-out that may endanger the safety of citizens in the area, our patrol officers are allowed to order pedestrians to evacuate the area in the following cases. When searching an area located on the police computer map for the person who has an open warrant out on them. The sidewalk adjacent to the site of the accident. When dealing with any type of traffic accident, the sidewalk where a crime has been committed. When investigating the crime scene, robbery or aggravated assault. The sidewalk where the theft has been committed. When searching for a wallet thief. The location of a drug deal when chasing drug dealers. The sidewalk or inside a park close to a handcuffed suspect when escorting a criminal or transporting an arrestee. If an order is not justified, it will be seen as a public rights violation. Some citizens are aware of their rights and will react negatively to such orders. Crime scene investigation. Crime scene investigation (CSI) is the process of collecting and analyzing physical evidence from a crime scene. The goal of a CSI is to help law enforcement agencies solve crimes by providing them with evidence that can be used in court. The process involves documenting the crime scene, collecting physical evidence, and analyzing the evidence in a laboratory. Investigating the crime scene determines what happened at the crime scene and who was involved. Most crime scenes in Brighton are either an assault or a robbery. To successfully complete a CSI, the officer needs to 1. Secure the scene after they arrive. 2. Numerate and record the evidence. 3. Interview all the witnesses. If the officer carries out a thorough investigation, they will discover the type of crime scene and collect enough information about the perpetrator to try and find them. The more an officer investigates a crime scene, the more information they will gain about the perpetrator. That's why it's important to complete the CSI whenever possible. First aid. First aid is a crucial skill that can save lives in emergency situations. It involves providing immediate assistance to an injured or ill person until professional medical help arrives. The primary goals of first aid are to preserve life, prevent further harm, and promote recovery. Brighton's police force provides mandatory and regular training and certification in first aid to enhance its ability to respond effectively in emergencies. There are there are several essential first aid Okay. Emergencies. Yeah. Brightness Police Brightness Police Force provides mandatory and regular training and certification in first aid engines in civilians can respond effectively in emergencies. There are several essential first aid techniques that everyone should know. These include assessing the situation, ensuring personal safety, and calling for emergency medical services if necessary. It is important to remain calm and focused during an emergency to provide effective assistance. Bandage bandages. Bandages. A critical aspect of first aid is managing bleeding and wounds. Applying direct pressure to a bleeding wound can help control bleeding until medical professionals can take over, elevating the injured limb and applying a sterile sterile dressing can also aid in wound management. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation (CPR) is a vital first aid technique used to revive individuals experiencing cardiac arrest. CPR involves chest compressions and rescue breaths to maintain blood circulation and oxygen supply to the brain. Here's a step-by-step guide on how CPR works. 1. Assess the situation and ensure that the environment is safe for both you and the victim. Check if the person is responsive and breathing normally. If they are unresponsive and not breathing or only gasping, it indicates a cardiac arrest. 2. Position the victim. Lay the person on a firm, flat surface. Ensure their airway is clear tilting by tilting their head back and lifting their chin. This helps open the airway for effective breathing. 3. Start chest compressions. Place the heel of one hand on the center of the person's chest between the nipples. Place your other hand on top of the first hand, interlocking your fingers. Position yourself vertically above the person's chest and use your body weight to compress the position yourself vertically above the person's chest and use your body weight to compress the chest at least 2 inches deep. Perform chest compressions at a rate of around 120 compressions per minute. Allow the chest to fully recoil between compressions. 4. Provide rescue breaths. After dirty chest compressions, give 2 rescue breaths. Ensure the person's airway is open by tilting their head back and lifting their chin. Pinch the person's nose shut and create a seal over their mouth with yours. Give a breath that lasts about 1 second, watching for the chest to rise. Repeat this step once more. 5. Continue cycles of compressions and breaths. Repeat the cycle of dirty chest compressions followed by 2 rescue breaths. Continue until professional medical help arrives or the person shows signs of life. Remember, first aid is not a substitute for professional medical care. It is essential that you contact the emergency services. However, having basic first aid knowledge and skills can make a significant difference in critical situations. Stay safe and be prepared to lend a helping hand when needed. My actions, okay. Um, Tools. Oh man, this will take me a lot of time to read, man, all of this. And it is already like 12 a.m. But you know, it is important that we read all of this stuff. So now, tools. Police computer. The police computer helps Brighton's patrol officers stay on top of information management. The police computer can be accessed via a smartphone in the interaction menu or in the patrol car. Or in the patrol car. While the driver can only access the car's computer when the car is at a standstill, the co-driver can use it while on the move. The police computers currently has 4 helpful applications. Switch applications with L1 and R1. CityMap. The CityMap provides an overview of important locations like the current position, the location of the current callout, and the borders of the currently assigned beats. Open the map's legend to get more information. Background checks. Checking a person's records can be vital to patrol officers. These hold information on a person's criminal record and their motor vehicles. Access an entry in the background checks application. Patrol officers needed to ask for a person's ID or focus on their license plate L1. Police Handbook. You are currently reading the handbook, so we assume you know how to open and read it. We hope you're enjoying the game and wish you lots of fun. Reports. This application is only accessible at your desk and only at the end of a shift. Please read the respective handbook entry for more information about writing reports. Background checks. Accessing the app. Open the police computer when on foot by using the radial tool wheel and by pressing a touchpad to open the computer when in a patrol car. At the bottom left corner you will find the icon and button for the background check app. Always remember that all encountered histories are saved in the background check app. This allows the player to browse through the multiple entity records inside the app during a shift, getting more information. Interactions with pedestrians and vehicles, such as looking at an ID, looking at their insurance papers, pulling over vehicles, using a pullover sign, or by pacing them with your patrol car, or by focusing on license plates. Create a record within the background check app in the police computer. Once an entry is created, detailed information is available for you to check. The app gives you the following information about people: basic identity information, including name ID, number, including name ID, including name, ID number, birth date, and so on. Information on whether the driver's license is valid or not, whether the person has a gun permit, is there an open warrant on the person. This information can then be used for your investigation. Example: if you find a gun on a person and see that there is no valid gun permit, this warrants handcuffing the person for carrying a gun without a permit. Similarly, an open warrant allows you to handcuff the person if they are wanted for crimes. Stolen ID. After interacting with the person and looking at their ID, pay attention to the person's picture on their ID and other data. Check to see if they match. If you notice the picture is if you notice the picture is different from the person you are interacting with, you should then return the ID, close the interaction wheel with, and check their entry in the background check app. There you should see the picture and notice that it belongs to a different person. This warrants handcuffing and arresting the person for carrying a stolen ID. The app provides you with the following information on vehicles: basic identity information including registered owner's name, license plate number, car model, and so on. Whether whether the vehicle registration is valid, whether the vehicle insurance is valid, whether the vehicle has been reported as stolen. This information can then be used for your investigation. Example: after asking for their ID and the driver presents an invalid insurance card for the vehicle, this warrants handcuffing and arresting the driver for carrying fake insurance. You can easily verify the insurance status by opening the background check app and checking whether the insurance status is valid or invalid. Conclusion: players can make much more informed decisions and take respective actions to handcuff a person if they discover a fake ID, a stolen ID, an open warrant, a missing driver's license, fake insurance, a fake license plate, or a stolen car. These selecting background insurance, a fake license plate, or a stolen car. These actions are warranted as part of selecting background checks and info from the interaction menu when talking to the person, then selecting the correct reason for handcuffing them. Pay careful attention when going through a background check before letting a person go with let go. Example: after asking for an ID and looking at the ID, close the interaction wheel using and go and read the entry in the background check app. Confirm the details, and if you find any violation or inconsistency, interact with the person again to proceed with handcuffing them. If you don't find anything wrong in the background check and the person hasn't committed any other violation, let go will release them from the encounter. Every citizen in Brighton is registered in the background checks database. If the app cannot display a profile, this indicates that the person is using a forged or fake ID, and you are warranted to handcuff and arrest the person you're interacting with for the fake ID. Remember, in the case of a person carrying a stolen ID, the ID information shown in the background check is that of the person on the stolen ID, not of the person you are interacting with. If you confirm that a person is carrying a stolen ID and the background check shows that there is an open warrant out on the original ID owner, this does not represent a justifiable reason for handcuffing the person you're interacting with. The only justified reason for handcuffing this person is for carrying a stolen ID, as this person does not have a demonstrated open warrant on them. This is because new evidence is not added once an ID is identified as stolen. crime map. In the shift selection map, high crime rate areas around the city are highlighted with a red overlay. When choosing a high crime neighborhood for the shift, the patrol officer is assigned the special shift mission. Show police presence patrolling that neighborhood and scoring a certain amount of shift points can convert it to low crime neighborhood. Progress during a shift is displayed in the shift mission UI by a progress bar. Clearing a neighborhood of high crime rewards the player with additional district XP at the end of a successful shift. Working a shift in a high crime area doesn't alter the frequency of callouts compared to working a shift in a normal area. High crime area shifts can be played as both foot patrol shifts and car patrol shifts. Radar gun. Patrol officers regularly use a radar gun to measure the speed of a moving object, especially moving vehicles. This is one of the most common ways for them to detect a speeding vehicle. Equip the radar gun from the tool wheel and aim it at a moving vehicle and press the trigger to capture a picture. The radar gun's range is 328 feet. When taking a picture, make sure the vehicle license plate and speed are visible in the picture for issuing a ticket. Pay careful attention to the speed limit signs before issuing a ticket. In Brighton, the speed limit varies between 15 and 45 mph. Depending on the width of the street, the appropriate speed limit can be seen on the speed limit signs placed on every street when the radar gun is equipped in casual mode. The speed limit of the current street is displayed, but pay attention to the speed limit of the street you're focused on, because the tool's GP position will be displayed and may vary from the speed limit of the street you are aiming at. Earn shift points for correctly reporting speeders. Incorrect reports cost conduct points. Make sure to find and remember good spots in your neighborhood. There are locations in the city where drivers tend to drive faster. This varies from street to street and even from district to district. Position yourself in a safe place with a sufficient view along the street for good results. Stay calm and avoid switching locations too often. Ranged stun gun. The ranged stun gun is one of the most widely used non-lethal weapons used by patrol officers to immobilize fleeing suspects or persons who pose a threat to others. It can be equipped in the tool menu. Hold. Oftentimes, the fleeing suspect will stop running and raise their hands when aimed at with a ranged stun gun. In such cases, shooting is no longer allowed. The range of the stun gun is limited. Officers need to establish probable cause before aiming and shooting at a target. Fill up on additional ammo from the trunk of the patrol car. Have your stun gun immediately available instead of browsing the tool wheel menu. You can also press R1. Photo camera. The photo camera is a tool that can be equipped in the tool menu. It's used to secure evidence at car accident sites and major crime scenes. Accident sites. At an accident site, equip the camera, aim it at damaged sections of the car, and shoot to take a picture. When aiming, an icon is displayed when evidence can be photographed. Make sure to be close enough to the damage so that it's recognized as evidence. Evidence photos contribute the progress of handling accidents. Not all evidence needs to be recorded to achieve a satisfactory accident report, but it's recommended to capture all evidence to generate a complete report. Crime scenes. At a crime scene, equip the camera, aim it at the evidence. After placing the evidence marker next to it, and shoot to take a picture. When aiming, an icon is displayed. When evidence can be photographed, make sure to be close enough to the evidence and include both the evidence and the evidence marker in the picture so that it's recognized as evidence. Evidence photos contribute to the progress of handling crime scenes. Not all evidence needs to be recorded to achieve a satisfactory crime scene report, but it's recommended to capture all evidence to generate a complete report. Flashlight. The flashlight is a valuable piece of police officer equipment that can be used to light up dark corners of the city. Equipping a flashlight and turning it on during a night shift allows the player to receive important intuition feedback when interacting with pedestrians and cars in the game. Only when the flashlight is active at night can players see some important hints, including runny nose, red eyes, sweating, nervousness, bleeding, avoiding eye contact, constantly shaking, red nose, green clumps, white powder under the nose. Without a flashlight, it is not possible to focus on car license plates or other signs at night. L1. With a flashlight turned on at night, drug dealers are aware of your presence and will not deal drugs, and graffiti sprayers will flee. Pullover sign. The pullover sign is a tool that can be equipped in the tool menu. While it is not used very often, it allows patrol officers to pull over vehicles when patrolling on foot or when manning a roadblock. Equip the pullover sign at the site where you want to pull over cars, then aim at a vehicle you want to pull over and shoot. You will receive intuition feedback on whether the vehicle will pull over. When using the pullover sign at traffic stops, you're allowed to pull over each and every passing vehicle. When using the pullover sign in regular traffic situations without an official traffic stop, make sure to only pull over vehicles that violate the traffic rules. Citizens and visitors will continue to respect the laws and rules of Brighton, so ensure that they are able to pull into proper parking slot. Drivers might not see you. When using the pullover sign, a message will notify you whether the driver has seen you. Make sure you're clearly visible but standing in a safe place, not in the middle of the road. Drivers who have been pulled over are released from detainment when the police officer moves away from the pulled over car, so make sure to stay close. Patrol cars. Patrol officers are assigned to patrol cars on a car patrol shift, but not on a foot patrol shift. Patrol officers who are starting their career are initially assigned to foot patrols. However, car patrol shifts are and different patrol cars can be unlocked during the officer's career. Officers are advised to familiarize themselves with the following patrol car functionalities. Pacing when driving behind another motor vehicle on the street. That vehicle's speed is automatically measured. Speeding cars can be pulled over. Pulling over motor vehicles driving in front of the patrol car can be pulled over. Patrol cars have a special mod for pulling over. Emergency light system (ELS). The ELS can be toggled on and off to signal police presence of or possible danger to citizens. Siren can be toggled on and off to alert traffic particip participants and officers need to for priority on the road. When the siren is on, activating the horn changes the siren cruise control. The patrol car's speed maintains its current speed when cruise control is activated L1. Police computer when at a standstill, the driver can access the police computer's applications, map, background checks, handbook. Toggle between first/third person view. More functionalities can be found in the game options. All patrol officers are obliged to prevent damage to their patrol cars, while minor damage doesn't end an officer's shift. Medium damage does, and major damage even leads to immediately losing the shift. Police officers can use their patrol cars as road blockers by exiting the driver's seat and leaving the hazard light zone. When a patrol car is parked in the middle of lane of a street, vehicles coming from the rear will move over to free lane on the left or the right. When the car is parked in the far left lane with the hazard lights on and no officer in the driver's seat, incoming vehicles approaching from the rear will turn around and drive in the opposite direction. Road flares. At night, road flares are used as distress signals to alert road users to possibly dangerous traffic situations. Patrol officers can equip them in the trunk of their patrol car and are advised to secure motor vehicles accident sites at night. An accident scene is secured once road flares surround the whole site. Officers will receive the intuition system feedback. I secured the accident scene once they have completed the task. Gun. The gun is a police officer's last resort in situations involving self-defense or resisting felons. The gun can be equipped in the tool menu. Aiming with the gun. It's not permitted to aim a gun at objects or persons when a police officer does not have grounds. An officer is allowed to aim but not shoot at a suspect when they have probably committed a felony, probable cause, and they resist arrest or flee. For example, if a police officer investigates a crime scene and finds the person who probably committed the crime and that person flees, then the officer is allowed to aim their gun at the fleeing suspect. Shooting at the suspect is not allowed in this case, but aiming alone might convince the fleeing suspect to stop. Shooting at the fleeing suspect in such a scenario will result in the police officer being severely punished. Attention! Aiming a gun at any other fleeing criminals is not permitted. Shooting with the gun. Use of possibly deadly force is only allowed when the police officer has secured proof probable cause is not enough that a suspect has committed a felony major crime and then resists arrest or flees. However, shooting at a person is not allowed when they have committed a misdemeanor minor crime. Whenever an arrestee creates a situation that is life threatening, threatening police officers puts them in great harm, they are justified to use deadly force in self-defense. It's important to know that probable cause is not enough proof for opening fire on a resisting or fleeing suspect. For example, in the scenario described in aiming with the gun, there is no proof that the fleeing suspect that has committed the crime, only probable cause. That's why the police officer is not allowed to shoot at the fleeing suspect. In such a situation, it's good advice to keep the gun holstered and use the ranged stun gun instead. Shooting objects or persons for no apparent reason is considered police brutality. The patrol officer will be fired. You can retrieve additional ammo from the trunk of the patrol car. The early access version of Police Simulator Patrol Officers does not currently support any features that allow police officers to lawfully discharge a firearm. Roadblocks. Road blockers, traffic cones and road barriers. When on a patrol car shift, officers are responsible for managing traffic jams, mainly caused by car accidents, and ensuring the smooth flow of traffic for other drivers. This also assists emergency vehicles such as ambulances, transport vans, and tow trucks in quickly reaching their destinations. The role of traffic cones. Officers are allowed to place traffic cones on traffic lanes only. Placing them at street intersections, on sidewalks, and inside parks is not allowed. Police officers can retrieve as many traffic cones as they want from the trunk of their car, but they can carry only a limited number of them at a time. They may also place only a limited number of them on the ground at a time. Experienced officers tend to use them more wisely and do not need to place too many traffic cones to resolve a traffic jam. Placing traffic cones forces vehicles to change their current lane, and it is a way to reserve parking spaces and prevent them from being used by other vehicles. If every traffic lane is blocked by traffic cones, vehicles will stop and wait for officers to remove them before moving on. Emergency vehicles respond to traffic cones in the same way as other vehicles. Role of road barriers. Officers are allowed to place road barriers on traffic lanes only. Placing them at street intersections, on sidewalks, and inside parks is not allowed. Police officers can retrieve as many road barriers as they want from the trunk of their car, but they can carry only a limited number at a time. They may also place only a limited number of them on the ground at a time. Experienced officers, then to use them more wisely. Yeah. Placing road barriers forces vehicles to change their current lane. When they are placed on the far left lane of a street separated by painted lines, the road barriers forces vehicles to turn around and drive in the opposite direction and make a U-turn. If the street is separated by plants or trees, vehicles are unable to make a U-turn and will wait for the officers to remove road barriers. Patrol officers can also place road barriers to reserve parking spaces and prevent them from being used by other vehicles. Emergency vehicles respond to road barriers in the same way as other vehicles but will not make U-turns. Instead, they will wait for the officers to remove them before carrying on to their destination. Patrol officers can use a combination of traffic cones and road barriers to resolve traffic jams more effectively. However, using these tools incorrectly may make the traffic jam worse. Patrol officers are required to remove traffic cones from the ground once they have served their purpose. Police hand gestures. Police hand gestures are used to give traffic orders to drivers to resolve traffic jams and ensure a better flow of traffic during traffic jams and when managing emergencies. Use wait/move hand gesture. This allows patrol officers to order drivers to stop or move along with the traffic. Use U-turn and hand gesture. This allows the patrol officers to order drivers to turn around and use a different route. Use reverse hand gesture. This allows patrol officers to order drivers to drive in reverse for a short distance. In addition to hand gestures, the officers have other tools for managing traffic, such as traffic cones and road barriers, as well as the pullover sign. Garage. The police garage is the place where the police houses all their available vehicles, tools, and facilities to repair them. Each police station has access to police garage. The officer can only access the garage with a vehicle. This means that any officer without the compact police vehicle CPV available will not be able to enter the garage on foot patrol. It is not possible to access the garage with any kind of passenger, including a partner or an arrestee. Each police garage has different sections. The repair shop. The officer can drive into the garage and get their car repaired. As long as the car is drivable, it can be oh, oh, oh my god. It can be repaired by the handy mechanics there. Undrivable cars cannot be restored during a shift. Parking lot assignment. The officer can swap the patrol vehicle they entered with for any unlocked or acquired vehicle. Not only can they swap out the car they entered with, they can also uh, manage the police station's parking lot. Any patrol car not inside the garage or any occupied by, by a partner or an arrestee cannot be exchanged. Moreover, if an officer totally wrecks a car, swapping it does not restore it. Organized trunk. The officer can manage the limited tool spots available to each type of patrol car. They can swap out the current tools with any unlocked tools and can also multi-select single tools for more frequent use. If the other officer selects a locked tool, the trunk spot will be empty. Crime scene equipment. It is important to preserve and document information found at a crime scene. Once a crime scene has been cleared, it is necessary to record in writing or in the form of statements from all individuals regarding any contamination they may have introduced to the scene, any evidence that has been handled and who has handled it. This is important because it provides investigators and others with a permanent visual record of the scene, which can be analyzed or examined at a later time. It is therefore important that the officer uses the following tools to properly process a crime scene. Securing poles. The most important aspect of evidence collection and preservation is protecting the crime scene. This is to keep the pertinent evidence uncontaminated until it can be recorded and collected. The successful prosecution of a case can hinge on the state of the physical evidence at the time it is collected. Securing a scene maintains the integrity and provenance of any material which may be recovered from it. This simple and important action reduces the opportunities for the material to become contaminated or inadvertently cross-contaminated. The securing poles need to be placed all around the crime scene. The following need to be contained inside the area demarcated by the poles. The crime scene itself. All pieces of evidence, all witnesses, evidence markers. Evidence markers are placed next to each piece of evidence, allowing for the organization of the evidence. They are used to index evidence at a crime scene in order to provide greater clarity. When referencing and analyzing, every piece of evidence should be recorded in a way that indicates its size by including a scale indicator. Photographs of all evidence are taken before anything is touched, moved or otherwise further investigated. The first photograph of a piece of evidence is essential to confirming that the crime scene has not been altered. Okay, felonies. Okay, alright. Oh man, sheesh, we have the last one here. It is already 1:08 a.m. So I don't think at all that I'm gonna be able to play with this game today. But tomorrow, um, but tomorrow, uh, I will definitely play with this game. Parking regulation. Parking regulations. Although the enforcement of parking regulations might seem pretty to some citizens, it is an important part of a Brighton patrol officer's daily duties. Illegal parking can impact traffic safety or hinder emergency vehicles like fire trucks reaching their destination. In Brighton, patrol officers different, differentiate between a large number of parking violations. All of them can be ticketed, but only a few justify calling a tow truck. Common parking tickets. Parking meter expired. In some parking zones, citizens are allowed to remain parked in the same spot for a certain period only. This is displayed by parking meters. A green valid sign on a parking meter means that everything is fine. A red expired sign justifies issuing a ticket by a fire hydrant. This justifies towing. Drivers are not allowed to park next to fire hydrants. Too close to a crosswalk. This justifies towing to help emergency vehicles get through and to ensure the safety of pedestrians. The city requires its residents and visitors to park at least 20 feet away from all intersections. Expired license plate. This justifies towing. Focus on license plate L1 to see a license plate's expiry date. No parking area. This justifies towing any vehicle parked with all its wheels on a sidewalk may be ticketed. The same applies to the vehicle parked on public property that is not signposted for parking or which does not display the proper white markings on the ground. Position and alignment. On sidewalk, any vehicle with one or two tires on the sidewalk. Wrong direction, any vehicle parked against the traffic flow too far in the street, any vehicle with at least one tire too far away from the curb is considered too far into the street. Special parking zone. Brighton has special parking zones that are each marked with at least two signs. Sometimes the curb is also marked red or yellow to highlight the importance. Emergency access justifies towing. No parking zone justifies towing. Street cleaning justifies towing. Handicap zone justifies towing. Taxi zone justifies towing. Watch out for shift. Cars carrying this label are allowed to park in taxi zones. Parked cars with broken windshields do not violate parking regulations. No ticketing or towing is justified. Handicapped drivers are allowed to park at expired parking meters. Handicapped drivers must have a handicap placard hanging from the rear view mirrors inside the car. Brighton has more parked cars at night, and many of them may be in violation of parking regulations. Jaywalking. Pedestrians may break the traffic rules by jaywalking. Jaywalking means crossing a street at a non-designated area or when signs clearly indicate that crossing the street is not allowed. Jaywalking is an infraction that can result in a ticket or verbal warning. Officers are authorized to detain jaywalkers, but not to arrest them. Jaywalkers are obligated to identify themselves when requested to by an officer. Franklin state law states between adjacent intersections controlled by traffic control signal devices or by police officers, pedestrians shall not cross the roadway at any place except in a crosswalk. Drinking in public. Brighton is a lively city. There are frequent games at the stadium. The cinema and theater have daily shows. The shopping mall is always full, and the city's students like to party a little longer at the weekend. Naturally, people like to consume alcohol at events, so it will not be uncommon for you to encounter inebriated residents. However, this is not illegal unless they are driving under the influence of alcohol. The legal alcohol limit is a blood of alcohol content BAC of 0.08%. At the same time, drinking in public is forbidden for any amount. Brighton wishes to ensure that adults set a good example for the children, which is why drinking in public is not permitted. This rule is strictly enforced because the city wishes to prevent a glorified image of alcohol the yacht. Officers who see a resident drinking alcohol are authorized to detain this person and issue them a ticket or a verbal warning. An arrest is not justified. Residents who are found drinking are obliged to identify themselves when ordered to present their ID by an officer. Traffic violations. Tickets or verbal warnings for infringements can be issued to drivers who have been pulled over by an officer, as well as to drivers involved in an accident. Some violations also authorize the officer to make an arrest. Tickets or verbal warnings. Expired ID, no valid insurance, broken taillight, tinted windows, underglow light, broken windshield, expired license plate is discovered by focusing on the license plate L1, broken headlights at night, speeding, ignored ignored stop sign, ignored red light, failure to use turn signal, smoking tailpipe, excessively loud engine. Arrests. Driving under the influence of alcohol. Driving under the influence of amphetamines. Driving under the influence of cannabis. Stolen car. Fake license plate. Missing driver's license. Fake insurance. During a traffic stop, officers sometimes observe signs of infringements of crimes unrelated to traffic. For example, the possession of an illegal weapon or an open warrant on the driver. Keep your eyes open for all violations. Not everyone respects speed limits, especially at night. Some drivers may even drive excessively fast. Littering. Brighton spends thousands of dollars each year cleaning carelessly discarded litter and garbage from streets and public property. Patrol officers are authorized to detain persons who litter and issue them a ticket or verbal warning. Littering does not justify an arrest. However, citizens who litter are required to identify themselves when an officer orders them to show their ID. Traffic violations player. Okay, traffic violations player. Patrol officers, like any other traffic participants, must respect the traffic rules. If officers are caught violating those rules, they will be punished, resulting in a loss of conduct points. This means that police officers need to respect speed limits, stop signs, and traffic lights. The police car sirens may be turned on in emergency situations only. Patrol officers become immune 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 to traffic violations when they are en route to an emergency situation or in close range to law violation they have witnessed, or pursuing a fleeing criminal. You can toggle casual mode for many traffic violations so that you won't be punished for them. The options are available in the game menu. Car accident. Car accidents. Police officers serve an important role in gathering evidence at a motor vehicle accident scene, interrogating witnesses and drivers, photographing the damage, and performing drug tests are only a few of the duties required to clear an accident site. Accident types. Multiple types of accident exist. Accident severity, minor accident or major accident. This influences the gravity of the damage and the number of involved citizens. Accident source. Call-out accident or officer witnessed accident. The officer can receive a call for assistance, but accidents can also happen right in front of the officer's eyes. Uh, there's eyes. Accident involvement. An accident can involve injured people or only car body damage. Accident reason. Multiple reasons can lead to accidents. For example, driving under the influence of drugs/alcohol, DUI. Drivers ignore traffic rules like red, like red, like red stoplights, rare, rare and rare end collisions. Pedestrians ignoring traffic rules like jaywalking, etc. Accident in which the patrol car is involved. This type of accident should be cleaned up as well. During the investigation, shift points are not given because the police officer is involved on the accident. However, losing conduct points is expected when the accident is not handled properly and only when the dedicated option is disabled on the game settings. Accident obligations. Patrol officers' duties at motor vehicle accidents are wide-ranging. In fact, there are so many that almost every duty has its own handbook entry covering the police work in detail. Here is a list of the duties. Please read the please read the respective handbook entry if you're interested in the specifics. Care for injured persons, call an ambulance, see respective entry, secure the accident site with road flares at night, see respective entry, interview witnesses, see respective entry, request IDs to document identities, see respective entry, photograph evidence, see respective entry, perform drug tests, see respective entry, call tow truck, see respective entry, check license plates by focusing on them. L1. Issued the accident report to the involved drivers. Car accident report. While investigating a car accident, the patrol officer writes a report with all the collected evidence and witness statements. Officers are advised to provide the involved drivers with a copy of the report once the investigation is completed. In the call-out UI, a progress bar shows the current status of the accident investigation. The more accurate the report is, the greater the number of shift points that will be earned for giving out the reports. There are multiple states of report completeness: poor, sufficient, extensive, and complete. Report progression is influenced by the following actions: interviewing pedestrian witnesses, interviewing driver witnesses, asking witnesses for ID, focusing on license plates with L1, intact license plates, only fallen off license plates do not count, photographing evidence, performing drug/alcohol tests. A positive result is valued higher than a negative result. If officers need to arrest a driver witness, they are advised to give them the report before calling for arrest transport, otherwise the report can no longer be given to the citizen. The report UI notifies you when every driver witness has received the report. Graffiti vandalism. Van, vandalism is a Vandalism is a willfully performed act that causes the destruction of or damage to public or private property, thereby dim, 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 dimi- diminishing its value. Graffiti vandalism is a misdemeanor that involves defacing a property or premises without permission. millions of uh, tax tax millions of taxpayer dollars and hard-earned wealth of Brighton's citizens are spent on cleaning graffiti and repairing damaged uh, premises. It goes without saying that keeping the city clean by preventing and removing graffiti is incredibly costly for the city of Brighton. A graffiti sprayer, a graffiti sprayer may become aware of a police officer under a range of circumstances and may even attempt to flee. Having caught them in the act of defacing property or attempting to flee, you can detain them and decide whether to issue a ticket or leave them with a verbal warning. It is not justified to arrest them for spraying graffiti. However, they are obliged to identify themselves when ordered to show their ID by an officer. Larceny. Not all of Brighton's citizens are always honest. Sometimes they try to steal other people's possessions. When an officer witnesses this, they must act quickly and pursue the thief. Under these circumstances, officers are authorized to demobilize the offender with the use of the non lethal weapon. It is the officer's duty to handcuff and arrest thieves. Make sure you also search the suspect and retrieve the stolen goods. Returning to the victim. The stolen property must be returned to its rightful owner. Use your map to find the victim's location. Upon returning to the person, give them theft report. The theft report is also required if the thief gets away. When the fleeing thief surrenders and stops running away, the use of force to stop them is no longer justified. Always return to the victim, even if the thief gets away. Dru- Drug dealers. Brighton's streets and parks are no exception when it comes to illegal drug trafficking. Brighton patrol officers can make a difference by intervening and acting decisively whenever they encounter a drug dealer. Observing a drug deal. Officers are advised to keep their eyes open and investigate when they see a suspicious exchange of items. Maintaining a distance and turning off flashlights ensures that a drug deal can be observed. Focusing on the dealer provides helpful intuition feedback. L1. Once officers are sure they have observed a drug deal, they are advised to exercise caution when when confronting the dealer and buyer. Responding to drug deal. Observing a drug deal establishes probable cause and authorizes patrol officers to search the dealer and the buyer only uh, only after only after more evidence has been found on a person is an officer permitted to proceed with arresting them. Keep in mind that it is legal to be in possession of one OZ or less of marijuana. All officers should be aware that drug dealers and buyers may flee when approached if probable cause has been established. A fleeing drug dealer or buyer may be demobilized by use of non-lethal weapons. attention. Shooting at a fleeing suspect is no longer justified once they surrender by raising their arms. Drug dealers operate in certain areas like back alleys, parks, and isolated places, and are more active at night. When drug dealers are aware of an officer's presence, they'll stop their activity, keep your distance, and turn off your flashlight. Wanted, uh, wanted suspect. Citizens with an open warrant can be found throughout the city of Brighton. Patrol officers are authorized to identify persons with open warrants and arrest them. Wanted suspects can become known to patrol officers through a dispatch call to look for a specific person. The officer is approached by a dispatcher and hints relating to the wanted person are displayed in the UI. A self-initiated initiated call to look for a person after identifying a crime scene suspect. The officer has collected clues about the wanted suspect at the crime scene, and these are displayed in the UI. A background check reveals an open warrant on an identified citizen. This citizen can be arrested immediately. When looking for a wanted suspect, the map on the police computer will display the area in which the person was last seen. Search this area for the described person. You can focus on citizens to receive a hint L1. From time to time, a wanted person moves on and is sighted in a different location. The area will then update. When an officer finds a person who matches the description, they have grounds to ask for their ID. Fleeing suspects. When approaching a wanted suspect, patrol officers should be prepared that the person might try to run away. It's imperative to know how to react properly in such situations. Deadly force, such as shooting a suspect, must be avoided. Aiming but not shooting at a fleeing person is permitted only when the wanted suspect is probably involved in a crime that the patrol officers have themselves investigated. If a fleeing suspect is neither visibly armed nor a danger to the officer, it's recommended that the officer keeps their gun holstered and instead use the ranged stun gun to immobilize the suspect. It is not justified to shoot at a fleeing suspect who demonstrates readiness to surrender, such as raising their hands. Check whether a citizen is likely to be a wanted suspect by focusing on them L1. Wanted suspects are always on foot and never driving in a motor vehicle. Some wanted suspect searches offer more hints than others. For example, a mugshot of the wanted person is not always available, but generally enough hints for identifying a person are provided. When you approach or identify a wanted suspect, they may flee. Be ready to give chase. Fleeing. Patrol officers may encounter citizens who suddenly run away. The officer must determine whether this is out of fear or because they have committed a crime. If a person flees from a crime scene because they are scared, the officer is not allowed to stop them with any use of force. The officer must allow the person to run until they feel safe. If a citizen flees because they have committed a crime or they have been detained, an officer is always permitted to stop them. Fleeing suspects. when when detaining a civilian on reasonable suspicion, patrol officers must be prepared for this person to attempt to flee. It is critical to know how to respond properly in such situations. Lethal force, such as shooting a suspect with a gun, should be avoided. When a fleeing suspect is not visible, armed, or the treat an officer's well-being, it is recommended that the fleeing suspect is apprehended using non-lethal methods. If they show signs of submission, such as raising their hands, patrol officers may arrest and handcuff them or for fleeing and resisting law enforcement before proceeding with additional measures as needed. Tackling. Police tackling a fleeing suspect is a complex and dangerous situation that requires a well-trained and experienced police officer. The best way to tackle a fleeing suspect depends on the situation and the officer's training in general. Brighton's police officers are trained to use non-lethal force to subdue a fleeing suspect. However, in some cases, police officers may need to use physical force to tackle a fleeing suspect. It is important to note that tackling a fleeing suspect can be dangerous for both the officer and the suspect. If the officer is not properly trained, they may injure themselves or the suspect during the tackle. Additionally, if the suspect is carrying a weapon, the situation can quickly escalate and become deadly. Citizens who tend to break the law with minor violations may also be hiding other major violations and may flee from law enforcement officers when detained. Only experienced officers are allowed to tackle fleeing suspects. Yeah, and oh, mamma mia, that's all for the God for Good Cops. Damn, well, that was way too long, man. Way too long. And it's, yeah, 1:38 a.m. So, yeah, I will quit. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and turn on the notifications. And, yeah, see you tomorrow, guys. And goodbye. Dan, se, dan, dan morgen, dan morgen. Ich werde wieder dieses Spiel streamen. Dann bis zum Morgen, Leute. Ciao, ciao. Goodbye, people.